It all started to feel off when I saw an update from the rental agent I had added online. A video was posted, showing the hospital near Shinjuku Station surrounded by a long police cordon. When I opened the video, I could hear his strong Hokkaido accent. Wow, Okuko Hospital. I don't know what happened, but the police and SWAT are here. I commented on the subway, what's going on, but when I refreshed, the post had been deleted. Right after that, the agent messaged me. He sent a voice message, and just as I put on my headphones, the second message came through. Hey, I was about to reply to you, but why did the post disappear? I didn't delete it. I'm not sure if something's happened, but there's SWAT, and they look pretty intimidating. Is your lease about to end? Do you want to renew? I frowned. I hadn't made up my mind about renewing. The apartment in Shinjuku was well structured, with complete amenities and affordable, but it was so crowded. The subway during rush hour left me exhausted every day. But moving was a hassle. Finding a new place, moving, and dealing with deposits was all too much. As I hesitated, the third voice message from the agent arrived. This one was a 59-second recording, and I felt a headache coming on. In the first part, he was talking about how university students had graduated and it was hard to rent out apartments. He said if I wanted to renew, I needed to hurry because there were discounts. But in the second half, something didn't sound right. Out of nowhere, I heard a muffled scream through the voice message. The agent exclaimed, "What the hell?" and then mumbled, "What's going on?" followed by a lot of noise, static and clattering sounds, until a loud bang at the end. I didn't have my volume turned up too high, but that last sound made my ears ring. I took off my headphones and squeezed through the crowd to the subway window, trying to see the hospital, but the train was already nearing the next station, and I couldn't see anything. I sent a quick, "I need to think about it," to the agent but didn't get a reply. I felt uneasy. When I got to the office, there were only half the usual number of people. Everyone was talking about the statement released yesterday, but it seemed like no one knew about the incident near Shinjuku. The scream and the explosion I had heard in the morning still haunted me. I couldn't resist and messaged a colleague who lives in Shinjuku. She replied almost immediately, "Leave Tokyo as soon as possible." My heart sank. The unease in my chest grew stronger. I was tired of texting, so I dialed her number. The phone rang once before she picked up. I could hear the airport announcements in the background. Before I could speak, she lowered her voice and said quickly, "The city's going into lockdown at 8 a.m. tomorrow. If you can leave, do it now. Stock up on supplies." Then the call ended. She sent me a video. The video recorded the hospital, with the camera sweeping over the emergency room, then zooming in on a man in a hospital gown. Despite being restrained by 4 people, he broke free for a moment, and in that instant, one of the restrainer's arms was torn open by the man's bite, blood spilling out. 30 seconds later, the man fell to the ground convulsing, and the video abruptly cut off. An indescribable panic hit me like a heavy punch to the chest. I've never been the kind of person who blindly believes internet videos, but at that moment, one word uncontrollably flashed through my mind. I stood up suddenly, and my colleagues gave me confused looks, as I quickly muttered that there was an emergency at home and I needed to take time off. My boss, clearly alarmed, probably understood what was happening and told me to go home immediately, giving me a full week off. I pushed aside the unrealistic thoughts in my head and ordered an Uber. While waiting for the car, I called my dad. I told him to drive back to Saga now, that I was coming home today. My dad works in Fukuoka, 25 kilometers from Saga, and even though it was only Monday, as soon as I said I was coming home, he, a doting father, didn't hesitate to rush to the airport. But on the phone, he sounded a little confused by my sudden return. The Uber car arrived, and I didn't have time to explain further. I promised to call him again when I was off the car. The capital highway was worse than usual, and even the driver muttered a few times. I was distracted, nervously checking the car's back window, feeling especially unsafe because of the video. But I knew worrying wouldn't help, so I took a few deep breaths, and with shaking hands, I opened Trip.com to search for direct flights to Saga. The earliest flight was at 2:40 p.m. from Haneda Airport, priced at 150,000 yen. I froze, scrolling down to find flights from Narita Airport also priced at 120,000 yen, ridiculously expensive. Could it really be that many people were fleeing Tokyo? My heart sank. Then I discovered that tickets from Ibaraki Airport were still priced normally at 30,000 yen. I breathed a little easier. Although it was a bit further, the price was manageable. Without hesitation, I booked the flight from Ibaraki Airport to Fukuoka. Then I called my mom. We had bought a new 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house in Saga last October. Because it was a new development, the house hadn't been ready until this April. Since then, I'd been dealing with the pandemic, and I'd have to quarantine for 14 days if I went back home. When my mom picked up the phone, I asked for the address of the new house, and told her to leave work now because I was coming home this afternoon. She firmly refused at first. As a pragmatic chemist, she's not easily swayed by my spontaneous plans, unless there's a solid reason. But since I'm her daughter, I quickly convinced her by telling her that I had bought a lot of ingredients and needed her to cook for me, especially the pork ribs, that would spoil if I didn't come home soon. That did the trick. She cursed me for wasting money, but agreed to leave work and go home. After hanging up, the car finally cleared the heavily congested road and took the Tokyo Expressway. The highway was still crowded, almost like evening rush hour. I wondered if these people had heard something, just like me, and were also rushing to get out. Time was tight. I opened my food delivery app and inputted my new home address, planning to place an order from the nearest Walmart in Carrefour. Saga is a small city, and there are only 2 large supermarkets, Walmart and Carrefour. These supermarkets only have 2 stores in the city, located in different districts. When I tried to order through the app, I realized there were no large supermarkets nearby. My heart sank. I switched to Foodpanda and found a small, somewhat decent convenience store. Then, I opened the map, trying to find the shortest route, but I immediately saw that the highways leading to both Haneda and Narita airports were marked brown on the map. I felt a tightness in my chest now. I understood why those flights were so expensive. I was relieved to have booked a flight from Ibaraki Airport. As someone who's always relied on takeout and never cooked much, I hadn't realized how expensive it was to buy groceries. I ordered some supplies, but I wasn't buying meat from the convenience store because the prices were inflated and the quality wasn't guaranteed. I figured I could buy it at the wholesale market with my parents later. By the time I paid, I had spent over 100,000 yen. It was only because I'd taken too long that I realized the car had almost arrived. I quickly confirmed my order and made sure to gather all the supplies. As soon as I got out of the car, the convenience store called to confirm the order. After some doubts, they hung up. I glanced at the delivery address, Oda District, Building 12, Unit B1, and couldn't help but feel proud of my cleverness.